Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to see you. So, as the title says, we will be jumping into Dragon Age Inquisition here. As you saw before, that is a little loud. Let me turn that down. The music is amazing in the game, but we about loud. Turn down a little bit so I'm not like yelling at myself here. There we go, that's a bit better. That's not as loud. So like, like the title says, hopping into Inquisition here. I want to get this playthrough wrapped up really before, for sure before Veilguard comes out on the 31st on Halloween. But if I can get it wrapped up a little earlier than then, about a week, by the 25th, so I can have a couple days to play the new Call of Duty, I would love that. But I did want to check real quick, make sure. Was having some technical issues earlier. You probably saw it on the other streams. So I was just wanting to make sure it's working. So I will mute my audio. I'll mute my mic audio just for a minute. Just so you're not picking none of that up. And I will be right back. Alright, so we are good to go on that. I did double check and make sure and look. You guys can hear the game, you guys can hear me, I can hear the game. That seemed to be the problem earlier. I'm not sure why. But we'll go through here. And like I said before, we're gonna go ahead. Right now is this in Prix de Lyon? The snow area. I think I'm level 15. I'll show the build. I'll show the character real quick. I'll show everyone I'm running with. I am running some mods. Dragon Age, this Inquisition came out in 2014. It kind of needs mods. So I believe the mods I'm running are the mage revamped abilities, just to make the passives a bit better on the mage. I'm also running what's the other one I'm running? Oh, the banter mod. I'm running the banter mod just because everyone knows, if you've played Inquisition, you know that they have the banter between companions. It's supposed to come out every 15 minutes while you're exploring, but there's a lot that can break up that 15 minutes. So you need the banter mod to trigger the banter when you first pick your people at a camp. And then I believe it also fixes the 15-minute interval. The things that break it up, I think it stops that as well. Running the mage revamped. Just for the quality of life stuff, I'm running a couple store mods to, when I sell something, it sells for like hundreds of % higher than it should. So like a normal little accessory that only would sell for 5,000 sells for like 70,000, just to help with the quality of life. I've played Inquisition enough I'm not trying to grind money. I'd rather... I'm more for the story for Inquisition, so I'm really just trying to get the materials to make the weapons I want. And then I did use a couple perks. One of the store mods brings in amulets of power, unlimited uses. I did use that a couple times early on because I was split on what I wanted to do for abilities. As you can see, obviously the spirit tree, I got the shield made up. I got the barrier, just the basic barrier, don't have the upgrade. The peaceful aura, was running Dispel earlier. Dispel, it's good for demon related stuff and some magic stuff, but with me getting Rift Mage, I kind of had to choose abilities to lose, and Dispel was one of them. Then I'm also running over here to Mind Blast. That's a personal favorite. I always liked Mind Blast. Just the view of it was always pretty cool to me. I didn't get the perks for those. I don't think the perks are all that good, except for barriers where it holds for longer. But how I'm running it, I really don't need that duration to be higher, because I'm also running the is it Mana Search? No. What is it? Is it Mana Search? Yes. Yeah, when the barrier runs out, either from it being forced by like taking a lot of damage, or when it runs out just from its duration, which happens to my guy a lot because I'm in the back line. I usually am running Cassandra or Bull, or Cassandra and Bull. I can use the Fade step to, once I see my barrier's about to run out, I'll Fade step it towards either their archers or their, whoever I can freeze, and have it freeze them, and then start a whole combo chain. Probably that Mana Surge freeze to the Mind Blast, to the mines, to the Fire Mine. Set up a whole combo, basically. But that's why I don't care if they have the long barriers. And then lightning, since I'm a Rift Mage, not to get into too crazy, but there's how passive stuff is set. If I weaken and then lightning and puts them to sleep, doesn't keep them weakened, which I don't get the mana surge. I don't get the passive to keep my mana up high. So lightning, sadly, it's probably the coolest elemental tree, but I can't run it on this guy. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be putting people to sleep, not keep them weakened. So I kept Energy Barrage because it works off your staff's element, and get the bombardment so I can reduce any resistances. I do have an ice staff. Trying to decide if ice staff or fire staff is better. Haven't really come to a determination on that. And then I did also do fire. So I'm not using Immolate or Flash Fire. I'm down here to Fire Mine. In the bug with Flaming Array, I just don't, I can't do it anymore. So I just want Searing Glyph to get more power and to get that shot in the air. Combo I usually do is the Ice Mines, where he sets 3 of them. Those 3 into Searing Glyph. Then I'll usually hit somebody else for a few seconds until they go off. And it has a weird interaction where when the mine freezes them, and then Searing Glyph goes off and shoots them into the air, they either refreeze or stay frozen through the air shoot. So I can get 2 shatters on them, so I can then get the shatter with the Fire Mine. And then I can get the second shatter with Mind Blast. It's a pretty strong combo. That's why I run that still. And then, like I said, Ice Fade Step with the Energizing Step, so I should never have this problem, but in case I ever do, with low mana, I can dash through people, get 25, 50, maybe all the way back up to 100%. And then Ice Mine with the Chilling Array. And then Rift Mage, all I got right now is Veil Strike with its upgrade. to weaken them, and also the cost reduction. And then Stone Fist with its weaken duration on it. My next plan for abilities is just to go down the left side here and get Pool of the Abyss, and then its upgrade. That'll probably be the I'll probably hit this whole tree. I'm not a huge fan on Firestorm. I'm not really a huge fan on any of the ultimates, actually. And then, yeah. Cassandra's standard. Cassandra build, tanky. Trying to get down to the Wrath of Heaven. It's taking a while. It's not, she'll do it. She doesn't do it right. I think the AI doesn't do it right. Cole, I got him going, trying to get down there to the bottom. You get the Mark of Death, but he slams with Hidden Blades. He's actually surviving pretty well this time around. And then I'm just running Varric right now. Varric got most of the archery done. That's probably what I'll finish up. I actually do have a lot of his tree done because he grants a lot of passive crit. And that is important to my guy because I'm running crit chain, amulet of critical chain. So every time I hit somebody and it doesn't crit, it increases my crit chance. This makes me crit a lot, actually. I've been considering, I guess since yeah. I did just think of that. Wall of Ice gotta be the most useless thing in the game. Anyway. But no, that is what we're at right now. Just going through Imperial Leon, getting that set up. Just to show the map where I'm at. I never know where this landmark's at. I can never find it. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go back to the camp and trigger the conversation. So I can get some knockout Iron Bull and them. Nothing?
You're not as handsome as you think.
It's Cassandra and Dorian this time. That's fine.
Be. Or you wouldn't have been thinking about it all this time.
Anyone who claims it as often as you do must be dreadfully concerned they're not.
Look at this profile. Isn't it incredible? I picture it in marble.
Dorian's probably my favorite. For a long time, I mean, besides Cassandra, because she's always my romance. My favorite for a long time was actually Varric, just because, yeah, Dragon Age 2. But I do think Dorian has kind of jumped up rather quickly as, like, my personal favorite. As far as what I usually run, I almost always run Cassandra because of the romance. I just, like most people, keep your romance partner in the companion group with you at all times. And then it kind of depends on the mission, what I'm doing. So, like, for Imperial Leon, since there's not a lot of character ties to any of this, I do like running Cole here because, you know, M-Shell, Cole, Spirits, Demon and Spirit. And then there's times I do like running Solus with him as well. Since I'm a mage, it's kind of tough running Solus. He also has the same specialization as me, so it's not great. So instead of Solus this time around, I think I'm gonna run Varric instead. Just to have run Varric. Just to I'll run Blackwall, 2 tanks. And then let's see where I want to go. Let's go get the bridge.
I see you punch a tree. What did it ever do to you?
Plenty.
So
I suffered from hay fever when I was small. My brother joked I should punch a tree in retaliation. So I did, and the sneezing stopped. I've done it ever since.
Did I do that already?
Approach.
I did do that already.
I like it.
Let's get this way. So, with Veilguard coming around the corner, I am pretty sure I know what class I'm gonna do. I've always been a Grey Warden guy ever since Origins. It's never changed for me. And honestly, I have done a warrior playthrough before in Inquisition, and it was all right. I did a Templar for Is it called Templar in this? Yeah, it's Templar. It's essentially it's Cassandra's class. So she's a Seeker, not a Templar. That's kind of nitpicking, but it's the same difference. But it wasn't great. It didn't feel great because the melee in this game is pretty rough. I was gonna slam. It didn't feel great, honestly, but it's terrible. I'll show you what I mean by that fire mine combo right here. It didn't feel great just because the melee is really bad in this if you play. That's why Dagger Rogue kind of sucks too. These don't stick on them and hit very well. But with how Veilguard's looking, I do think it might be a bit better this time around. You see that double shadow right there? That's awesome. I do think Warrior and Rogue will be a bit better just because they've made it more action-y, which, yeah, it's kind of upset some people, but I think at some point this was going to happen anyway. At some point, you know, they have always kind of moved away from the origins, slower combat, more animation, more, I don't even know what I would call it. It's real time with pause, I guess, but who's up there with him? They've moved away from that each game. Even 2 I actually think 2 was probably a bit more more actiony than even this was. I think people just kind of like dunking on Inquisition a lot for fun. But when it comes to... Oh, they left him alive? When it comes to Veilguard, it's a lot more action game-esque, God of War, Devil May Cry-esque. I do think that'll be a lot better for rogues, for any melee class, so I think they do have good guys. That's above. Nice. I do think it'll be better for melee guys this time around, so I'm probably gonna run a Warden Warrior, like Sword and Shield Warrior. It's just partial to what I've always kind of liked. My guy in Origins was a dual wielder.
Good find.
Dual wielding warrior. Not meta at all. Or, I mean, not even that great. Because if you're dual wielding, you usually want to go rogue. But when it came down to it, I did like just how Vanguard kind of looked more. As far as the combat animations, the flow of it, very God of War, Devil May Cry-esque. So I think Warrior's what I'll go with. As far as specializations, I'm not sure. Again, when I played this one, Champion was terrible to play with, just because it's super tanky. You're not doing a lot of damage anyway as a tank. So now the fact that also... Somebody broke him out of it. That's why he did that. But Champion looks a lot better also in Veilguard. Was I saying Vanguard or Veilguard? I can't remember. It's Veilguard. Yeah, Veilguard. I don't know why I've been saying... I think I might have been saying Vanguard. If I have, that's funny. But... Champion looks a lot better. If you look at any of the showcases, I do think it looks a lot better. Just less super tanky. You don't really need that super tankiness when it comes. And then also they've shown the Reaper. One of them is more necrotic damage based, with the big green scythe that they swing around, and then the other one is all based on using the two-handed weapon instead of sword and shield. I've always been a sword and shield guy as far as warrior goes in any game. Once I saw you could basically Captain America the shield around, that kind of secured it for me. I do think Mage and Rogue look really good. Mage looks weird. I do want to see how that kind of goes in this. In my second playthrough, will probably be a Mage. I don't know about faction, but first playthrough, human, Grey Warden, warrior, probably champion, just because of the fire damage. Super basic. I don't think you could get any more basic than that. That seems to be, man, something just slammed him. That was a lot of damage. It's super basic, like D&D, human, sword and shield. Don't get anything but ability improvement scores for feats. Like that level of basic. And I'm fine with that. It's always how I've been with these games. But ultimately, I do think warrior will be quite a bit better. As far as companions go, just off of the initial, just from seeing them, how they seem to be right now, I think I'm gonna like Tosh a lot. Tosh definitely seems like one I think I could definitely. Did he not freeze? Tosh seems like one I could really like. The Kunari female. Really into her. Obviously, Lace is always great when she's in the game. And then you got. I know why people are sold on Lucanus. I'm personally not. I think Lucanus is a bit. Please. I think Lucanus is a bit pretty boy-esque. I know why people are into him. But, do I not close that? No, I do. Right there. I was gonna say, where is it at? I gotta get over there. And then you got, who am I forgetting? That'd be nice for Bull. Lucanus, Tosh, Harding, Ballara. Ballara seems cool. I'm always the quirky girl for Dragon Age has always been pretty hit or miss. I think it's always not been great. I'm not a huge fan of Sarah. I did like PB in Mass Effect. I think they're the Meryl, and I was not a fan of Meryl in 2. I think Meryl was really irritating. I think Sarah is not terrible, but she's irritating in how she doesn't, not that she doesn't compromise on what she believes, but she doesn't see the big picture almost ever with her. It's always just sticking it to the rich people, which, trust me, I don't disagree. But let me go back real quick. So that I get that similar vibe, not the helping the poor people or the lesser man like Sarah, but I get that quirky vibe from Ballara, and I do worry about it just not being great. About it possibly just being stereotypical. Like Meryl, for instance, I see it more closer to Meryl potentially than with see it happening closer to Meryl than happening with like as Sarah, just because the quirky girl that because Sarah was, a lot of what irritated me for Sarah again was that she doesn't see the big picture. I feel like Bellara will see the big picture based off of what she said, but that she's very much a product of how quirkiness is seen in the time she's written. And if you go back on Play 2 and talk to Meryl, she is, it's like Felicia Day in the DLC, like she's very much a product of 2010, 2011. Oh, I thought he was gonna come at me. Let me slam him down. Oh, let's get back. Oh no. But Meryl's very much a product of her time. Just quirky. You look back at it, it's very cringy. I think kind of the innocent aspect of her is kind of weird as well. Wasn't a huge fan of that at all. That's potentially the vibe I get from Bellara. Just the more quirky of 2020, because you know this game has been in development since 2018, 2016. I mean, depends on how much they kept through the changes and stuff, but she could be a product of that like 2018, 2019 quirky humor. I hope that's not the case. From the few stuff I have seen, it's from other creators like Unit Fade Walker talking about her. It seems like that's not the case with her. I seem to be one of the rare people that don't like Meryl and Sarah, but like PB. So me and Fade Walker might have a different opinion on that. That's why I'm kind of reserving judgment on her. But you got her, you got Emmerich. Another one that I don't really care for. The necromancer mage is a super suave old dude. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Not super into that either. But dodge. There we go. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not a huge Emmerich guy either. Just from like his Vows of Vengeance. I can't remember the podcast that they got going. That really, his episode didn't sell me. Tash's was awesome. So as far as that goes, let's talk about the Vows of Vengeance. They've done everybody. Oh, Devrin. I forgot Devrin. I really like Devrin. I think he's going to be a bit more, just from what I've seen of him, he might be a bit more Cassandra-esque in the sense of like very serious, straightforward. Doesn't want to do the quote-unquote or Legion nice words, dance around it. He's very Great Warden. He wants to just get it done. So I do kind of want to see how that goes. 1 second. There we go. So that could be interesting to see him and see, because I've always liked Cassandra. So it would be interesting to see how he compares to her, because in my mind, that's who I think he will compare the best to. Oh, is he coming down or going up? There we go. Man, we are not in a great spot. I really like Devrin. Obviously, he's also got the Griffin with him. That'll be cool to see. I do think at the end of the day, with me running a warrior and most likely wanting to be with Tash more, I think Devrin's going to get sidelined in my first playthrough a lot. That's kind of why I didn't care. The drop down to 2 companions with you at any time has always kind of worried me. Just because you're not going to get a lot. You won't have the flexibility. Like, I can always run, like in an Inquisition, here's the example. I can always run Cassandra as my romance in my part because there's 3 other slots. That gives me room for my romance character / favorite character, which is usually Cassandra. It gives me, and obviously depending on the character I'm building, it gives me flexibility to do another tank or 2 mages, 2 archers, whatever. I can still fill out the full team with what I need with 4. With just having 2 companions and still have also all the stuff to do all the right primers and detonators. With just 3 people counting you, now you're looking at like again, the example of my Warden Warrior and Tash, we can only detonate the same things because warriors detonate one thing and set 2 other things. So they can only detonate one thing. Well, now I have to run either Lucanus or Emmerich or Bellara or Harding. Like, I have to run one of them 2. I can run Devrin, me, Tash, but ultimately that's gonna we're not gonna detonate anything. It's just gonna be constantly priming, and the game's not gonna be super hard. So it's not like you need that stuff, but I think it's a really fun mechanic. I always run freezing stuff in Inquisition to set up that stuff. So I think having that, and then not having 4 people to have like some leeway with it, I think it could be a problem. Because I'm always gonna want to run Tash, most likely, because she's the character I like the most out of everybody from the podcast so far. I kind of have the same problem in it's something that Baldur's Gate as well, kind of that 4-person party also kind of helped. That's where I think maybe making the parties a little bit bigger. That's a little different because it's a turn-based game, but like Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous was really good about it. I think they let you take out 6 people, and out of every one of your companions, there's like 8 or 9 companions without doing any secret ones. So you can take majority of them. So you get their content, get to play with them, play with their class, and still hear them talk. Obviously you can't do that in games like this, just based off of the what's the word I'm looking for? The genre of the game. You would, if you could run around with 6 people in this, you would murder everything. But I do think ultimately that I'm intrigued to see how that's gonna go with just having 2 companions with you. I think it's gonna hurt Davrin, my playtime with Davrin, outside of missions where he has to go. Like, spoiler, in case you don't know about it's nothing super serious, but it is something that was spoiled in trailers. The battle at Weishaupt Fortress, you are forced to take Devrin because he's a Grey Warden. That mission, I'm probably not going to be able to take Tosh with me. I'm probably going to have to take Bellara or Lucanus or somebody. So stuff like that is going to suck, but ultimately I do think it'll probably be a positive. So overall, I am one of those people that knew the game had to change over time. Dragon Age has changed vastly. from game to game. It's fucking, this despair demon is a problem. Here. But as far as, ooh, that did nothing. Eat the fire mine. Eat that. Ow. There we go. Need another one. And then let's go run up here. Everyone freeze. Mind blast. Kill them. Oh, he's still alive. Oh my god, there's two of those. Where's that? Here we go. We'll disrupt the rift. Do some bit of burst damage. Oh, that hurt. Did that kill the big dude? It did kill the big dude. Nice. Knock him down. Grant shields. That. Slam him down. There we go. Is that the first one? That was the second. But as far as the podcast goes, Harding's was good. I feel like it's intentional. The main character of the podcast, Nadia, I don't care for her. And she kind of irritates me. Just because it really started being bad with... Whose episode was that? Was that Balara's where they went into the Fade? Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen the podcast. She went into the Fade and saw her lover.
Does Hawk
Hold
ever
on.
autograph books?
Why? Doesn't your copy of The Tale of the Champion have a big hole in it?
Yes, but it could also have Hawk's signature on it.
That's funny. So when she went into the Fade with Balara, try to find Ilio. Drayden, was it Drayden his name? Drayden told her that nothing there is, most likely what you're seeing is not going to be real, so don't take it part, like don't immediately take it as real. And that was the first thing she did, and then she finds out it wasn't real. And then her next time she sees it, which is this most recent episode, she again thinks it's real. I just think we just not learning our lesson at this point. And it's like you keep falling for it. You kind of be like, if you're not gonna learn, you gotta come. So that's been irritating. I do like Drayden. I think he'll be really. That's what I don't know. I almost said I'm interested to see what he's going to be like in Veilguard. I'm not 100% on if he's actually going to be in it. I am kind of curious how that's going to go. Because if they do show up, Nadia and Drayden, then literally everyone's going to be like, wait, how do you know him? And everyone's just going to be like the Spider-Man meme of everyone pointing at each other. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I guess this might be freeze. Well, he's gonna stop. Smoke him down. Ipsy in the air. Fire mine watch. They'll freeze back in the air. Oh, frozen in the air. We get that mind blast. Kill him on the left. All that's left is him on the right. Reapply our. Oh, he wants to try that? How about no? How about nah? Not today. And then we got Bull killing him. And then you may go run up on me. And then that's game time. What was I saying? It was about the podcast. I can't remember what it was. Oh, she said she fell for it again. As far as like my favorites from the podcast so far, it's like in terms of, man, this was like a really good podcast. I would say Tasha's is number one because I really liked them hunting the dragon. That was really cool. Number two is probably Lucanus's actually. I did like his. I don't care for I mean I don't think he's a bad character at all. Just not super into him like everyone else is. That accent's got some people in a chokehold. His was the next best one. I liked a little intrigue near the end of it. And then probably Harding's. And then I think probably Balara because of the fade, then Devrin, and then probably Emmerich. Emmerich's was very neat to me. That's how I would rank them as far as their podcast episodes. I am interested to see how that reflects with what I think of the character once I play the game. And see if that kind of lines up with just my general interest of the character. Because right now, I would probably switch Devrin and Balara. But ultimately, it's pretty close, I feel like, to what I feel for that character right now. It's probably pretty close. It's just not a way up this is. So, you know, there is that. Got to rush me? Oh, you got slammed, son. Oh, blasted me. I just died. Oh. There we go. But, was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I have not done anything, actually. Man, that's crazy. It's kind of how I play Dragon Age. I do a lot of the fighting. But other than that, I would say I'm really interested to see how they represent Minrathous. I think Dorian's gonna be in it. Just I think he'll be in it. Maybe Varys Talani will be in it. I'm interested to see how Solus interacts with Rook. Morgan, I'm really interested in seeing come back. Overall, I am really excited for the game. I do think, I guess the three choices, I guess we can talk about that. It seems to have been kind of a hot button topic, especially for more long-time fans than maybe even people that got interested. And if you're saying people got interested with Inquisition, I think Inquisition came out in 2014. I think it won Game of the Year in 2014, because I think 2015 was Witcher 3. So if it came out in 14, it was 10 years ago. I was just starting high school when that game came out. So, yeah, I was a freshman. I had just started my freshman year of high school when Dragon Age Inquisition came out. But the three choices have been pretty polarizing because I think it's a mix of things. The first thing is, if you look at the Dragon Age Keep, which I'll go ahead and do that since I'm basically done here. I'll go ahead and do that. Let me 1 second. Let me close that so you guys don't see anything you're not supposed to see. And then we'll go to the keep. And I'll just show you my keep so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So, all right. We're good. All right. So, let's go. Oh. All right. So, we're in the keep. You know, just look at this. Let's go ahead and close that. So this is, for anyone not aware of the keep, before Veilguard. This is where all you would play your game of Dragon Age Origins, for example. That's this tab. Make your decisions, play the game, beat the game. I think from 1 to 2, it read it off of your game system, like from your save data on the game. I think from 1 to 2 it did that, and then from 2 to Inquisition, you had to do it through the keep. So after 2, when you were going to Inquisition, you had to come to the keep, pair it up to whatever account I guess it would have been your EA app at the time, is attached to. And then you'd had to go through here, pick all your choices. So like, for example, this is my canon world state. This is the one. I've had the same canon world state for years, just because I'm not one to I can't play Dark Urge on Baldur's Gate 3 because I think I'd feel really not great doing those choices. So I do very same choices on my playthroughs. So, you pick your race, and if your warden lived through it all, and then your companions, all the decisions you made with companions. So there's 2 decisions plus a decision for each companion. So already right there, that is 10, 11 choices. And then you start going, and then that's not even the choices you've made like in the game. That is just like you and your companions. Now you're on to the prologue where you do the stuff at Ostagar, the Urn of Sacred Ashes. There's big choice there. The Arl Redcliffe, couple big choices there. The stuff in Awakening, you got the elves and the werewolves. There's a lot of choices just in this one game. I think so. And then I'll show you. So boom, over to 2. So all those decisions from 1 came to 2. So then you come to 2, and you got your Hawk, who is who he romanced, all the stuff with all the companions, prologue, Act 1, 2, and 3. Then you go over to Inquisition, and Inquisition had the same stuff. Now, when it comes to this, I can't remember if it was saying going into Inquisition or by the end of Inquisition with all the keep choices. Either one of those 2, there was 115 choices in the keep. I think it may have been including Inquisition. 115 choices. And just to be clear, outside of like maybe stuff with companions and some of the choices, not a lot even came over. So you really don't have a lot to work with. Like, it would be like a codex talking, or like in Inquisition's the big example. When you meet Morgan in Inquisition, she may or may not have Kieran, based on if you did the Dark Ritual. You may have done the dark ritual, but it might not have been your warden, depending on your gender, or if you romance somebody else. It may have been your warden that did the ritual with her, but when you got to awakening, you may have chose to try to kill her. That is one of the few times where you saw your choices really play out, I feel like. So all the choices that matter, from Inquisition going into Veilguard, that you decide when you are creating your character and your Inquisitor, is what was it? Did you disband the Inquisition, or did you let it get absorbed by the divine? Who you romance, because I assume whoever you romance most likely shows up with the Inquisitor. Who'd you romance? Did you fold into the Chantry or not? Or did you dispel the Inquisition? And the final one is at the end of Trespasser, when you confront Solus, did you say you were going to redeem him and talk him out of it, or show him a better way, or did you say to kill him? Now, when it comes to those three choices, they're not bad choices. Overall, I like them. And I knew Mass Effect had to do it, has done it. At some point, they would have to cut down the choices because there's just too many, and most of them ain't. So I knew they were probably going to cut down, especially considering they're not using the keep anymore. I will say I did expect maybe 5 choices. I would say the 5 or 6. I would say the choices that matter should be. It might end up being more than that, I guess. We'll see. 1 second. Did the hero of Ferelden, trying to word it how you would have less questions, did the hero of Ferelden do the dark ritual with Morgan? Because I think at some point you can also do player stats, which I think player stats showed that most characters did the ritual with her, and then in Awakening went through the mirror with her, which is like the now you're married to Morgan route. So did they do the ritual with her, and if so, did they go through the mirror? That's one question. I guess 2. So that, because if the hero does that, the hero doesn't die, Morgan has Kieran, and Kieran in Inquisition had Erthemiel's soul. So from there, yep, see, did the warden go through the Illuvian with Morgan? My warden always does. Nothing in 2 matters. That's what the long and short of it. Nothing in 2 matters. No choices there matter. Inquisition's got the other choices. Obviously, who's your Inquisitor? Who did they romance? Is 2 good choices. I would say, honestly, who's your Inquisitor? So you got the Morgan question, and if they went through the mirror. You got the Inquisitor and who they romanced. That's 4. Then you got I would say the ones that matter going into Veilguard, from what we know right now, I'll go in order. That's first. Here Lies the Abyss with the Wardens. That should matter because we go to Weishaupt. And if you do it in either way, they say there's a disagreement with Weishaupt and there's a potential Grey Warden Civil War. And if whoever doesn't get left in the Fade goes to Weishaupt. So that should matter. So that's 5. Then you got I would say the next one that should matter should be the well. The well's the next one. Did you drink from the well or did Morgan? Because that ties in, because they tell you in the game, in Inquisition, that whoever drinks from the well will also basically become a servant slash slave to the will of Mythal, which I'm pretty sure I'm not 100%. Either that's what Solus took at the end of Trespasser, which would mean that whoever drank from it should be the servant of Solus, or what Flemeth sent through the Eluvian right before Solus got there is whatever remnant of Mythal that is, and he took Earthemiel's soul, which means maybe Morgan ends up getting that fragment of Mythal, and choice doesn't matter, I guess. That's what I have to see. That would be my sixth choice, would be the well. And then I think the only other one, maybe the descent, ending on the Titans, and especially with Harding and all that, I think maybe that's going to matter, but not to that degree. And then I think the Trespasser, the disband or reform the Inquisition, I think it's the last one that matters. So 7 choices, I would say, instead of 3. But overall, I think it is still, like, the Divine doesn't matter. They're going to get around that by saying Divine Victoria instead of it being either Cassandra, Liliana, or Vivian. They'll just say Victoria, and they'll be kind of vague with it. The Mage Templar War kind of didn't end up mattering. That kind of gets solved with the Divine, but all in all, the circle always comes back. Which means the Templars also come back, so they get reformed as well. Hakon didn't matter. Descent might matter, but not really. Whoever's leading Orlais doesn't matter because it's in Southern Thedas. They don't care. And then stuff like who sits on Ferelden's throne doesn't matter. But that is simply my take on all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up. It was fun being out here. Next stream, I will probably, obviously it'll be continuing Dragon Age. We'll probably be getting into the Emerald Graves by that point, because we'll get to that point, do that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I'm out of here.